Hello, hello, Josh Thomas, Community Lending Group. How are you doing? How are you surviving this crazy weirdness that we're going through right now, huh? Well, I was really excited as I was looking through some of the solutions that the experts are all working on here. I was seeing an article last night about what do they call it? The blood transfusions, the plasma donations and stuff. And it looked like there's some really promising results to that. I read a couple articles on that hydroxychloroquine. They were all seeming pretty negative about that one, but these vaccinations one, they seem not vaccinations. Uh, well, anyway, you know what I mean, where you take the blood and give the blood. And they were the articles and some of the authorities seemed like they were a lot more positive in that one, and the results looked really good. So I don't care what it is or where it comes from. Please get it figured out, right? Anyway, the weather's really good outside. I'm really missing being outside myself. So anyway, I wanted to come at you real quick today and just do my very best in a very short time to share with you a very detailed topic that I feel like is really important to cover. A lot of you guys know me really well, and hopefully I've gained some respect from you and you trust me a little bit. This forbearance issue that is making so many headlines is kind of a big, scary topic. It's so easy. I don't remember the government ever coming out in the mortgage crisis and saying, that, hey, we can't foreclose on you and you can forbear your payments. I don't remember ever seeing that happen, but it's happened right now. What was it, nearly a month ago, the government says that Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, USDA, and VA won't foreclose, aka you can stop making your payments. I've even heard it go so far as to some real estate agents are advertising houses like they're cars, no payments for a year. Don't do that. Don't fall into that trap. That is, you remember the adage, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, this one will cost you. So let's just hit a couple of the things really quick. Number one, if you take advantage of the forbearance, you cannot refinance. More than likely, you won't be able to qualify to buy any investment properties, as there might be bargains coming up. So don't fall into that trap either. Number two, you do have to make those payments. It's not like you're getting out of the payments. Nobody else is making them for you. You have to pay them. Interest continues to accrue. And you remember that 1098 that you got right around the end of the year that told you how much interest you paid last year? Well, that's the amount of interest that's going to accrue if you forbear and skip those payments. So be really careful doing that. So you can defer it up to 90 days and then another 90 days and then another 180 days. And so that's where they're getting the 12 months thing. But just stop and think. If you want to talk about it, give me a call. I would love to help you. But if you do some math on this, if you look in a little bit deeper, it is a big, big, big threat to the health of our economy. They can single-handedly take us from a really good economy just a couple of months ago, where everybody's talking about recession, but nobody sees any evidence of it, to all of a sudden the worst economy we've had since the Great Depression. Yeah, that sounds really bad, huh? Let's not talk about that again, because that makes everybody sad. But it's possible. And so here's how it works. There's this circle of life, right? Up here, you're the top. You're the consumer, right? And you and me, we're up here. And then as I go around this cycle, if I'm going to borrow some money from a bank, well, a bank doesn't actually lend their own money. They get it from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and FHA and them. And then besides them, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they pool all the money together from the money managers. The money managers are getting the money from you, and you pay your 401k, your IRA, and your insurances. That's where they're putting all that money that you're giving them with the money managers, and they're buying things like this. And so if you take a part of this circle out, right, where we stop making our monthly payments, well, suddenly the banks now don't have any money to be paying to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. But guess what? The banks still have to. The government didn't relinquish that. In fact, I was talking to one of my lenders yesterday. 15,000 people in the last week and a half have applied for forbearance and been approved, because what are the qualifications for it? Pretty much nothing. Just have to be impacted by COVID. That's it. Okay. So 15,000 have been approved. That's $70 million in monthly payments that they normally would collect that they're not collecting now. How long do you think the bank can sustain that? How many banks do you think are already in that same exact boat? What's going to happen? That's interesting, right? So anyway, when you take that piece out, that's going to break that whole chain when all of a sudden this all freezes up, which is what's actually been happening. That's half the reason I wanted to make this video is when you call me up and you ask for refinance quotes right now and you hear the interest rates and you're like, wait a second, I thought rates were at 3%. Not really. And that's the reason why, is because the market's more or less frozen. They're not even at capacity anymore. It's not like everybody's working overtime anymore. They're just simply frozen because there's another piece of this forbearance. If you refinanced last month or the month before, or you haven't made your first payment yet, and then you call and forbear, your loan just became an early payment default loan. And in the world of the banks, that means that loan is no longer sellable. They can never, ever sell it to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or FHA. And if you don't know this, if you're a bank and you lend $300,000 and now you have to service that loan forever, you just tied up 99% of the capital that you previously had planned on having tied up. And that times, I don't know what, 1,000 loans, 10,000 loans. Banks run a lot of loans in a month, and if all of a sudden 90% of those loans go bad and the bank no longer has the ability to lend any money at all. So you see, that's kind of big and scary, right? But let's stop talking about that. Just understand that there's a real threat with this forbearance. Make sure that you have the facts. Make sure you really do the math, but you're going to end up having to pay it anyway. So do, if you can. Don't give in to this garbage that they're feeding us. Oh, just click on the button. Now you don't have to make any payments. Well, you will tomorrow. What do you think is going to happen at the end of the year or the 6 months or the 3 months or whatever? You're going to now owe 4 payments instead of 1, right? So that can be really painful. So anyway, just wanted to make sure that we put some information in your hands. Call me if you have more questions, you want to know more about it. We will get through this. It's not a big deal. We're going to work through this. We always have and always will. But it might take a lot of good hard effort from us, and maybe we should reach out to our politicians maybe a little bit more, get them involved. And by all means, if you're not participating in that and you want to have some refinance questions or know more about the market, give me a call. We're still killing it. 3 weeks is a normal close time for our loans right now. We can get them done in 2 weeks, even now, if we need to. So some crazy good stuff going on, but that forbearance deal, let's make sure we got all the facts, okay? Call me. Talk to you later. Have a great day.